Was there a botch on the main event of last night's episode of Raw? I think so. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD, and your Jam That Champion. Where's the belt, Luke?
The belt is right here on its velvet pillowcase, ready to be put over my shoulder.
You actually took it home.
Yeah, I did. I actually remember to take it home this time.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
right? Yeah, we are doing this remotely, in case you couldn't quite tell. We are doing this remote because the numbers are rising, Christmas is coming, we're trying to be as safe as we possibly can to protect our loved ones, so we're at home.
It would be nice to see our families this Christmas.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Yeah,
Wouldn't it
so we're going to give
nice?
that a go.
Yeah.
Please give us a subscribe. It's the best Christmas gift you can give a YouTuber this year, and it is free for you. Just do it. Just press the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up button, all that stuff, and get in an ultra chat to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5.
Not only that, but there's a link in that video description down below. It's a link to geology. You can go take your 30-second quiz and you will get a tailor-made skincare routine, making handsome a habit. Click the link in the video description down below. Take their quick 30-second quiz and it will basically give you the skincare routine that you need. Both Ollie and I use it, which is why we look so great at the moment. And you can get 50% off your order using our link. Love to you all. Thank you so much to Geology for sponsoring this episode.
Be talking more about them after our main discussion point, which is the main event of Raw. How will they coexist? We had Big E and Bobby Lashley, who's a babyface now. I think that's pretty clear. He wasn't even supposed to be in this feud. And now it's all about him against Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, who admittedly are freaking fantastic together.
So great together. And it is weird. I'll say this now. It's weird that they're just friends. Like they, apropos of nothing, are just mates now. Okay, do you want to defend it?
Well, no, you've got the story that, the really cool psychological destruction of Kevin Owens before Bobby got involved. And then you've got the story after Bobby got involved. They're two distinct stories with different characters. You know when like American Horror Story and they have an episode and it's like, it's an isolated thing. And then the next episode, maybe the same actors playing different things. That's what this is. They're just completely different characters and stories.
They're just two heels now, yucking it up together because the big, strong baby faces need some heels to beat up. I'm amazed there's not 4 more of them, to be honest. Just throwing throwing the Miz and someone else together with them.
Kevin Owens has re-signed, so no need to do any more of that interesting storytelling.
What a fool! He signed the paper and everything.
You're a comedy goofball now, KO. Wear these silly suits with Seth Rollins. That's your thing now for 3 years.
Yeah. But having said that, what a lovely payday, though. What an excellent payday he's getting out of it.
You can't hate the guy. He's doing it for his family. That is character consistency. He's been saying that since NXT.
Yep.
He is the prize fighter. Anyway, this main event, pretty good. Went about 8 minutes. It's the people in the ring. Of course, it's going to be good. Lashley had all the babyface spots. He got the hot tag. He got the impressive delayed standing suplex. He even told MVP not to come out so he can win this alone. And there was sort of a show of respect between him and Big E. So, yeah, completely different story to what they had been telling. But then Bobby accidentally spears Big E. He turns and he's like, oh, no. You'd think that would lead to him getting pinned. But no, he then just speared Kevin Owens. He gets the pin locked in. 1, 2, 3. And then everybody goes, and then Seth Rollins goes, oh, shit. And he goes to stomp Bobby Lashley, but then doesn't actually stomp him. Like he withdraws because I think that was the spot that was meant to break up the pin.
I think that was what it's supposed to be as well, because then Rollins is looking at the referee being like, wait, what? Because Rollins was so off the points, because I've watched it back a couple of times because I was trying to get the image for the thumbnail. And it really is a case of the referee counts 3 and then Rollins comes into frame to break up the pin. So it wasn't even like he missed it by a bit. He missed it by quite a chunk. And then he's just looking at the referee being like, wait, what? That was 3. And the referee's like, yep, that was 3. It's all over. And Bobby Lashley just sort of like rolls off Kevin Owens and just sort of like, oh, now I'm selling. And Kevin Owens is just like, oh my God, my ribs. Because I've just been speared.
But KO's also like, was that 2? Even though he just got speared and he's meant to be selling. No, it was 2. And the commentary team are like, I think the match is still going on.
Yep, I think it's over. And then they went to the post-match angle, which was Owens and Rollins beating down Big E and Bobby Lashley, and then embracing in the ring like they're the best of mates and always have been. Like that's the bit that I think that sort of sticks in my craw a little bit. Like I kind of like the two of them working together to take Bobby Lashley out of the match. It's them yucking it up in the ring as their heels being like, oh, we swerved you all. We're now friends and we're hugging and shaking each other's hands. That's the bit I can't really get on board with.
Would you be on board with that if they won the match? Because presumably that's what was meant to happen.
I thought it was meant to be. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I probably would have been a DQ finish. Some form of DQ finish, and like, you know, Bobby Lashley gets up and starts beating up both of them, and the referee just calls the match off, something along those lines. Or maybe like the referee's like, oh my God, Rollins, you stomped his head into the ground, that's not cool, DQ, or something along those lines.
You hit your finisher.
Exactly.
Disqualified.
Something rubbish like that. Geeks qualify them. And I don't know what the supposed finish was, but this did feel like it wasn't what was supposed to be the finish.
Well, KO has, of course, now been pinned twice in 2 weeks. Get used to that, Kevin.
Going for the title.
3 years.
Going for the title next weekend.
So I did not mind the final image, which is of Owens and Rollins. Initially they're standing next to each other celebrating, then they turn away from each other. They're walking in opposite directions, but looking over each other's like shoulders in a way that you do as a heel to be like, yeah, I'm going to beat up the other guy now. And then they both ran towards each other, best friends hug. I liked it because I think this has actually been coherently told through this episode and last week as well. They have been working together, definitely. Last week, Kevin Owens came out to punch Rollins in the face as a way to help him win the match. But they haven't quite made up together or gotten on that level. And this was them revealing that. I'm also completely in love with the idea of two people who are famous for turning on their partners every time getting put in an act together. And there's so much that feels like Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, which I have a big fondness for.
I think there'll be a really fun tag act together. Also, shout out, joining us in the chat, the Enforcer from Going in Raw has joined us in the chat. Hello, Enforcer.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas. Yeah, absolutely. No, I do like the idea of them being an act together because like the promo segments they had last week, like when they were, you know, who's going to go down and beat up Bobby Lashley first? And Kevin was like, well, I mean, you'll get to the ring before I will anyway, so you should probably just go on ahead. Like, I think all of that stuff can lead to some really good backstage environments. Like, I'm really looking forward to it because I've really enjoyed the RK Bro storyline. There's some similarities here, you know, like Randy Orton is always turning on tag partners, so it's just a case, you know, when is he going to be the one to turn on Matt Riddle? So I'm really looking forward as well to this, telling that first chapter for 8 months. And then eventually one of them turns on each other and they just have a match.
You did a sarcastic thing.
I did. But I actually genuinely am enjoying the RK Bro thing.
So the bit, I did not mind that. The bit that I have like significant issue with, and it's just the latest example of something I've had issue with since Big E won the title. He's not the main character in this storyline. It was always about Seth and Kevin Owens when it was the three-way, and now Bobby's in there. He's the main baby face. Big E is just like on the side, out of camera shot, while Rollins and Owens are beating up Lashley. Like he is the big threat. Because, you know, he is. He beat everyone last week. Big E looks like a chump.
Yeah, it's not, I don't like this that much. And we said this last week. We said this 2 weeks ago, in fact, when they first teased that Bobby Lashley was getting into the storyline. I was like, but why? And it really is because, as we've been saying, Vince McMahon woke up one day and was like, well, God damn it, pal. Bobby Lashley isn't in he's the almighty. Why isn't he in this title match? So he just has been shoved in, like the Charlotte Flair of this triple threat. He has just been randomly inserted into this and is now the focus of it. And I think it sucks for Big E. I think, like Kofi Kingston before him, he is not being presented as the main focus. He's not being presented as the WWE champion. If you watch this show, you'd be quite, like, if you were a first-time watcher of this show, it'd be quite easy to not notice that he is, in fact, the main champion of this brand.
It's like they're trying to cover the fact that they don't have faith in him. Because if you had faith in him, like they did with Drew, you put him in singles feud after singles feud and you put him over strong. But they don't. They have him worked over for the majority of the match. They're trying to like hide him in smoke and mirrors things with Owens, Rollins, now Lashley. And I think, if anything, it's diluting the star power. I think if you present to me Big E is the central force, here he is, great matches, singles feuds, I am going to have a much better, easier time accepting him as a new top guy. But putting him with loads of other people doesn't work.
I'm going to just echo what Ket has said here in the chats, because this is an excellent point. Big E is having the Chris Jericho undisputed title run. Jericho, like, for those who weren't watching the time, they put the belt on Jericho at the end of 2001 over the idea of putting it on Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, and The Rock. And they were like, oh man, Chris Jericho, we're creating this new star. But then actually, if you watch the shows, it's the top stars are Kurt Angle, Steve Austin, The Rock, and then Triple H when he came back in 2002. And Jericho was not treated as the top guy, but he had the belt. So he was just like, well, no, he is the top guy there, right? Because he's got the belt. That's exactly what is happening here. Feels like the fourth choice amongst the four that they're presenting on TV.
Which is terrible for a guy who has not been a main eventer before.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the same thing with Jericho.
Yeah. Well, I think, but Jericho was already kind of in that mix. I felt like
with The Rock all summer, yeah.
Yeah, he was more there than Big E was when Big E cashed in. But I guess he had the Roman feud. Let's get into what you guys think on this, Botch. WrestleTalk.com/support. Get those chats in. We'll read out everyone over $5. Yes,
just before you do, like, you know, we are in the Ultra Chat section of this podcast now. But I'm feeling Christmassy. I'm feeling festive. But I didn't get a chance to have anything like this yesterday. Just put my title belt down for just 2 seconds. And it is the Christmas season. So I've got myself some cheese and crackers that I'm going to have. I've got a nice bit of...
what is this? Number 10 Downing Street?
I've got some clementine and Cointreau marmalade to go with this and everything, but bit of cheese and crackers to go with this nice little business meeting that we're having and podcast. And Christmas. I didn't actually mean for that to be like a social commentary thing. I didn't actually intend that. It has become one now. I just wanted to have some cheese and crackers.
What cheese you got there? Oh, the bit that did go in your mouth.
Just a bit
Red
of
Leicester.
Bit of Red Leicester.
It's the nation's favorite cheese. Just, eat right in there. My friend texts me. I don't know how familiar our worldwide viewers are with the current jokes around our government, but I got a text from a friend the other day being like, oh my God, have you seen? They're having a cabinet meeting later today. I was like, oh no, that probably means like a bad announcement for Christmas. And then I've said that, and he went, no, mate, read it again. And I read it again, and it was cabinet meeting.
That's good.
I also, my friend sent me a picture of a positive lat flow test, and he was like, oh, Christmas is ruined for me. I was like, oh, mate, I'm so sorry. When did that happen? Have you got any symptoms? And he went, click the image, buddy. And I clicked the image, and it expanded, and there was a giant penis behind the test. So I'm just not going to take anyone's messages seriously anymore, I've decided.
Oh, which is a shame as well, because I meant to mention to you, I saw a lad when I was in Westfield the other day. I was just walking down to some Christmas shopping, and the guy went, bro, do you want this pamphlet? And I went, yeah, bro, sure.
Okay, it took me a while. Oh, God. Right, so onto the Ultra Chats. Liam Leonard's been a Memberg for 5 months. Well done. He says, is defo a botch? I felt bad, but wasn't a botch. Huh? I felt bad, but what wasn't a botch was my first action in a ring with a crowd. I participated in a lumberjack match in FFPW on Sunday. Congratulations, Liam.
That's great. That's real cool.
Send us a video on Twitter, or if you've got anything, or some pictures. It'd be great to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think also, we must remember the referee was not at fault here. He is meant to count stuff as a shoot. That's the rule backstage. And I'm surprised stuff like this doesn't go wrong more often. And Seth is like, when does Seth make a botch, really? I know, occasionally injures people, but obviously not intentionally. But he is like a consummate professional. So weird to happen. Jack Nichols, bold prediction, the Veer is coming vignettes will continue for 8 months, and then when Jinder and Shanky are drafted to Raw, he'll arrive to join his old staple, and we can forget the whole thing.
I don't know if you saw this, but one of the things we got on this show was Big E making fun of the can you possibly coexist, or how can they possibly coexist, by being like, oh, we can't use those words around here, that we can't really use the dirty C word around here. So WWE are doing a bad thing, but it's okay now because they're acknowledging that it's a bad thing, which makes it not bad anymore, right? So WWE's social media account do this a lot as well. Because I don't know if you've noticed this, but this has been sort of doing the round. This is the last 11 or so weeks of Veer Mahan is coming to Raw, right? And they did it today, where they literally posted up being like, call your friends, Veer Mahan is coming to Raw. But it's okay. So they're doing a bad thing, but it's okay because they know it's a bad thing now. So it doesn't make it bad anymore.
Completely excuses it. Charles Berg, I'm officially done with this show. I'm sure I'll be back by Royal Rumble time. It's only a month, mate. You're not officially done with the show.
But I'm up to the Rumble as well. You'll take next week off.
I'm officially done when I'm away with my family for the next 2 weeks, and I won't tune in for another week after. But then I might be back. But I am done in the sense I cannot be invested in anything or anyone on this show. They all act like 8-year-old kids, and Vince looks like a gecko. I like wrestling, not WWE. The Guilty Hat. Happy holiday period. Oh, remember when Bobby won the WWE title at the start of the year? We're all kind of down on him to be a badass babyface with MVP. WWE does listen to its fans. Just 9 months late under a completely different context.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm... Also, because it's a Vince McMahon babyface as well. Like we should have seen the warning signs were there when he was like, look at his military career. Look at his, his fantastic family that he's got. And they're like, oh no, you're right. Because I think they're going to split him away from MVP as well. Like, just take away all of the things that we really like about Bobby Lashley. Just strip all of that away from him, because Vince McMahon's like, well, no, we just need Bobby as the babyface. Babyfaces can't have managers.
He was already getting cheered as a badass babyface in the feud with Drew. We all liked it so much. We were cheering for him. I said in my review, it does feel like Big E is a transitional champion from Bobby Lashley to Bobby Lashley.
Well, no, he's a transitional champion from heel Bobby Lashley to babyface Bobby Lashley. It's like that American Horror Story thing all over again.
Chuck Cassis has been a member for 5 months. Haven't watched WWE in a few years, and it's nice. Only watch your Raw reviews. Something WWE related. I met Jeff Hardy on Friday. He's so cool. Love you. Love you too, Chuck. Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear that he's doing well. Riot DR. I remember that NXT angle with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole getting into a fight in Kyle's gym, and the footage was grainy and still, and I loved it. The produced video with Liv and Becky was the opposite of all of that. Ninja Becky was interesting, though.
Yeah, that yeah, we'll get to that.
Before we do get in with the play-by-play review, hey, Luke, tell me about geology. Can I get a good offer on that thing?
You certainly can do, because it makes handsome a habit. So what you do is you click the link in the video description down below, and there's a quiz that you can take, and that quiz will ask you, what do you want to get out of your skincare routine? So you tell them what you want to do. For me, it was like reducing down to puffy eyes and things like that. And I also get very dry skin during the winter. So they suggested me a regiment, and I now follow that regiment. I have a morning routine, I've got an evening routine, and it has really like made my skin feel so much better, so much clearer. And I now I don't feel like I have dry skin during the winter now. And I think my eyes look slightly less puffy as well, which is remarkable because I'm not getting a massive amount of sleep at the moment. And that is all via Geology. Making handsomer habits. Click the link in the video description down below. Take the quiz, and then you can get 50% off your order. Delightful stuff.
I went for about a 4-hour walk just around the village on Saturday, and I came back with a bright red face, and it didn't go away. And I thought, oh, well, I'm exhausted. I'm hot, in that weird way, because there was no sun. There was clouds everywhere. But no, I somehow slightly sunburnt my face in December. And the one thing I didn't do was put on my face cream in the morning. And it's got a little tiny bit of SPF to protect you from the rays. So I don't know why. I keep saying to myself, I do it, as much as my habits allow. But one of my big things next year is New Year's resolution. Every morning, evening, Geology. Yes.
And it's also apparently now friendo approved by the Enforcer.
Oh. Yes. Right. So this episode of Raw opened with Bobby Lashley coming out. MVP cut a promo. Big E interrupted. Sort of said, well, if you're so good, Bobby, why did you cheat last week? And Bobby's like, well, I didn't want to cheat. MVP did that. And then just started to rag on MVP for a bit and put MVP in a kind of match against Big E.
Yeah, this was where the warning signs were there for me, being like, uh-oh, they're going to break this act up, aren't they? That's not good. That is not a good sign. And yet it was weird because they were both just sort of ragging on him. And then we made this prediction last week that we would have a can they coexist tag match. And that's what we got here because Bobby Lashley goes outside of the ring while MVP sort of squares off against Big E. MVP, by the way, did not look bothered. Absolutely did not look bothered by the fact he was going to have a match with Big E while he was wearing a suit and Big E was dressed for competition. And Owens and Rollins attacked Bobby Lashley on the outside. He is the biggest threat after all. And man, the crowd are so quiet for all of this. It was deafeningly quiet.
I was quite shocked. Yeah, it was uncomfortable how disinterested everybody was there in the action because, I was not interested at home. But sometimes you're there live. Wow, it's Kevin Owens, it's Seth Rollins. You have a little bit of a pop. But no, that is a sign that something is not working.
Mm-hmm. Or it was just a bad crowd. Could be either way.
Well, there was a lot of, sudden noises from the crowd.
Wasn't there just? Every now and again, it was just like, wow, there was some... The crowd sounded very much into that. In the exact same tone they were into one of the previous segments.
They hate Austin Theory. They booed him like crazy for that short amount of time when he was walking down the aisle and you couldn't see their faces. So yes, Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce are like, well, coexist, tag team match. Then we got Doudrop versus Bianca Belair, Luke's favorite series of matches of all time. You were going to say if they have one more, it's on par with Okada Omega.
I hated this so bad. This was real bad. This was real dumb. I didn't I cannot fathom how you can get this wrong. Because they had the right ending, which is that Bianca Belair hit the KOD and pinned Doudrop. That's the ending we were all waiting for. That's the end. Everyone's retweeting the GIF and stuff and the video being like, wow, look how awesome Bianca Belair is. Look how strong she is. That's really cool. Forgetting the fact that Bianca Belair's won every match in this feud. So what did she achieve here? Nothing is what she achieved. And she's there kind of this promo backstage being like, this is going to be the end of this storied rivalry. I'm like, what storied rivalry? You keep winning. How is this a story? It was so dumb. I have no idea how you can do something this poorly.
I like the in-ring action.
Great.
But that's all I can say. Both of them as wrestlers are very, very fun to watch. After that, we had Austin Theory taking on Finn Balor. Of course, Austin Theory wants to impress his sugar daddy, Vince McMahon, in all of this. I thought he was damn impressive in this.
Yeah.
Him and Finn, Finn's a great wrestler, so it's difficult to know how much is Balor, but Theory, in 2 moments, popped out these really nice moves. I don't know if he did them in NXT. And there's a sort of neck breakery thing off of the ring apron. And then he also did a jump up what Corey Graves called it a springboard Spanish fly, which it was not.
It's not, no. I think Sean Ross Sapp actually gave it the best name possible, which is that he called it the Arabian Press Spanish fly, because he jumps up, swings his legs over, and then uses the ropes, as Sabu would do with the Arabian Press, to flip himself over while holding on to Finn to do a Spanish fly. Like, it was really, really cool.
Really like that. And then he goes straight for the pin, but he tries to get a selfie while making the pin. It's cocky. Finn Balor fights back. Coup de grace for the win. Finn was like really fiery at the end. I thought this was perfect. It got over Austin Theory. It didn't undermine Finn, but it also gave Theory enough to be like, it's not because he's not good enough. It's because he's inexperienced.
That's
exactly I really like this.
I thought this was really smart booking of both guys, really. Like, it gave Finn a win, which he has been sorely needing as of late, and it gave Theory the right loss. Because, like, Theory should have lost this match, because Theory lost it in completely the right way. I thought Finn made him look awesome. I really, really like this. And that's twice now, because, like, I thought Theory was one of the standouts of the Survivor Series 10-man tag as well. And I think here he has been really great. And clearly, you know, Vince doing the story with him shows that Vince has got high prospects for him.
He knows how to pick him. Austin Theory and the guy in the next one, Omos.
Yeah. So the Miz is talking with Omos backstage. And he's like, wow, I cannot believe you've just revealed all of that information to me about your tag team. I can't wait to talk to you about this on the Miz TV. And I was like, okay, cool. So that'll be next week's segment. Because you wouldn't do the Miz TV on the same episode you're doing the Cutting Edge with Maryse about your storyline. There's no way. What is the next segment you're doing? Oh, man. I've literally written down a series of questions. This is what I wrote down when I was watching this. Why do we have both the Miz TV and the Cutting Edge? Why is Miz doing a talk show segment during his serious feud with Edge? Why would you have the Miz totally undersell the importance of his Edge storyline by going into his usual Miz TV spiel? Why are AJ and Miz cutting promos on each other? They're not feuding. Why is Omos letting Miz talk on his behalf? Why is Miz here? Why did the Mysterios come out? Why did that happen? Why do I watch this show?
Yeah. I mean, I got so confused. I thought this was the RK Bronament final, which I said in my review. And, you know, that went out. That's in the Raw review video. Only one person's corrected me. So it just shows how little people care about all of this. You know, so the basic gist was Miz is trying to stir the pot as usual. He says that Omos is sick of AJ. Took AJ Styles 15 years to get to WWE, so they're doing that tired line again. But Omos didn't have to lift a finger. WWE came to him. And yeah, they have the Mysterios match. AJ wants to tag in Omos. Omos won't tag in. Ray rolls AJ up. It goes 2 minutes. And then Omos and AJ have a brawl afterwards. They are officially split up. Omos lays out Styles. And they'll have a match. Again, I got this wrong. Not at day one. No. Next week.
Next week on Raw. I wrote my notes, they'll have a match at day one. And then later on in the show, they're like, it's happening next week. And it was so funny as well. I was listening to the Fightful post show for this. And they were like, yeah, they've got this match. I think it's going to be at the Royal Rumble because I don't think they can extend this out till WrestleMania. And then Denise was like, no, it'll be at day one. And then they suddenly came to the realization that it's next week and they could not fathom it. But like, yeah, it was, I hated this segment. And the reason why I hate this segment is not anything to do with AJ, The Miz, or Omos. It was the fact that WWE put this segment together. WWE don't know how to tell storylines now outside of talk show segments. So like, they're like, well, how do we break this tag team up? Well, we do a talk show segment. Well, we can't do the Cutting Edge because we've already got that booked in for the show. Oh, it's all right. We've got Miz TV. We'll put Miz TV out there. But doesn't that undermine the feud between the Miz and Edge? I don't really care because we have to have these talk show segments. Otherwise, we can't tell this story. And that is a really backward way of doing this. And it just, when the Miz came down, he's like, I'm going to cut this serious promo first. You know, I love my wife. I love Maryse. And I'm really serious with Edge. Welcome to the most explosive WWE show on TV, Miz. And I'm like, well, now what was the point of any of this? Because I don't buy into anything. And I think it's made me care even less now about the Edge Miz feud.
Totally. It's the feud every week that becomes less interesting. I guess the argument on paper would be Miz does this segment to build up the idea that Maryse really has turned on him. But when we get to the cutting edge segment, you'll see it didn't come across like that at all.
No,
it was an absolute like sort of fluff. After that, Austin Theory doesn't knock on Vince's door backstage. He's a little bit scared. Then we get Randy Orton versus Chad Gable, which was really good for 2 minutes. Chad Gable's fantastic. He just out-wrestled Randy. But Randy hits an RKO. Boom, that's it. Otis chased off Orton, so we're probably going to get Otis versus Randy.
That's next week as well. They announced that later in the show. They announced a bunch of matches for next week. I thought they were taping it after this show. They were announcing so many matches. I mean, this match tells you everything you need to know about the RK Bro versus Alpha Academy feud, which is that Chad Gable and Matt Riddle are not the important ones here, so we can pin both of them quite comfortably. It's all about Randy Orton versus Otis.
No Riddle, weirdly.
Week off, I guess.
MVP asked if Bobby was just setting a trap backstage with the whole Big E thing. You know, they're in the locker room, and Bobby's like, I'm actually quite thirsty. Can you go get me a drink of water?
I liked MVP's response of like, sure, champ. Like, I thought there was some like good acting in it. Well, do you know what I would like to see? MVP get a new recruit. And, you know, sort of like, hey, I gave you everything and you turned your back away from me. And, you know, basically almost like be a manager for someone else to feud with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. Dana Brooke and Reggie go through a Santa's Grotto thing, escape the usual 24/7 shenanigans. This is so repetitive week after week now. Damian Priest took on Dolph Ziggler. Good match. Good in-ring action, but Bobby Roode interfered. Damian Priest got really angry in his way that he does for his gimmick, and he got himself counted out.
Yeah, so I learned today, I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this either. What a championship contenders match actually means.
I've got my theories.
Oh, really? Because I now know the answer. So apparently, according to like Sean's sources at Fightful, a championship contenders match is just their way of saying non-title. So it's not actually number one contenders. It's not actually about rankings or anything like that. It's just because they felt that non-title isn't enticing enough to put on a match. So they called it a championship contenders match to rebrand and rebadge non-title matches.
They've rebadged it, you fools. I think that's clickbait. Kettle black. Pot kettle black, you might say, Ollie. But I think that's misleading.
Really? Okay, so what's your theory then?
Well, the one that we've always thought. It's you beat the championship, you beat the champion, you get a chance to go against the champion.
But that's not what's happened. Because challengers have pinned champions in these matches and they've never got title matches out of it.
But I just assumed that was WWE's lazy booking, not them actually having a different definition to what I think. I'm pretty sure they put forward what I just said on the first championship contenders match.
Well, that's what I thought as well, but apparently they have just rebadged it, you fool, and it is now just their way of saying non-title match. But, you know, I very much enjoyed Corey Graves talking about, hey, if Dolph Ziggler wins this, he'll go further up the line. I was like, what line? What line of challenges have we got here? Apollo Crews hadn't won a match for months, and he just walked into a title match.
So backstage, Theory jumps Finn Balor, you know, to impress Vince McMahon because he lost. And then he goes to see Vince McMahon. And he says, I'm so sorry I didn't beat Balor, but then I beat him up backstage. And Vince says, you know, of course, I've translated it from I like that you beat the chocolate pudding out of him.
Is that what he said? I can't make out a lick of what he's saying.
I mean, he could have said something completely different. That's what I heard.
You heard chocolate pudding. He beat the chocolate pudding out of him. maybe
it was Christmas pudding. But
well, Christmas pudding would make sense because the line he has later
would
on when
it?
he's it would because the line he has later on, which is like, I like firing people over the holidays. It gives me a warm feeling in my stomach, as if like, there's a sort of like the warm Christmas glow you would get, which is kind of what I think he was sort of referring to. At least that was the read I had on it. So maybe Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
Do Americans have Christmas pudding though? Is that a British thing?
I don't know. You know when what's it? Yeah, because he says it gives me a warm feeling inside my stomach when I've eaten some food. Was he just hungry?
But everyone in the chat is saying that it is chocolate pudding. So you were right. You beat the chocolate pudding out of him.
What could that mean? The crap? Is it like does a poo look like a brownie? Chocolate pudding?
Maybe that's. Should I be saying that to my kids? Oh, good chocolate pudding there, kiddo.
Oh, someone's been at the chocolate pudding. I feel like half of these shows that we do, these reviews, are becoming just ways to decipher Vince's mumbo jumbo.
Do you have any idea what he's doing with the pencil thing? Like, I get he is the booker and therefore he is the pencil, but that is such an old-timey thing for Vince to be referencing. I don't think Vince would be referencing that sort of like old-timey lingo.
He is the pencil. I didn't even think that was what it was.
Yeah, like when Brian Pillman like wrestled that pencil, and it was like during his thing with Kevin Sullivan, like, and I don't respect you, Booker Man, and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's what it is, but it feels so old, feels so Southern wrestling for Vince to reference that, which Vince absolutely hates.
I got because last week he said, you know what this is? And it's a pencil. He holds it to Austin Theory. What's the most important end? And Austin's like, the sharp one that you actually use to write stuff with. And Vince is like, no, it's the eraser. And this week he rubs some stuff out on a page, and then he blows the sort of debris you get when you rub something out, erase something, onto Austin Theory as if it was snow. And then he started going, ho, 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 ho. So I don't think it's a Booker thing. I think he's just saying you can always erase what you've done.
Do you think that he like rubbed out the or erased, I should say, for our American viewers? Do you think he erased the finish of the main event, and that's why everyone was really confused by the finish?
that was the booking shit. That legit booking shit.
I know. Forgot what I wrote down now.
So the big thing about all of this is that when he's so what he does is he gives Theory a rematch against Balor next week because he liked how he attacked him. But before he gets there, he's like, what should I do with you? Maybe I should fire you. And this is the exact quote. I enjoy firing people. I especially enjoy firing people just before the holidays. And I put this up on this was sort of our lead story in the news earlier. Like, this is bad taste, is it? And it was pretty much unanimous in the comments. Yes, that was bad taste. WWE have fired loads of people this year. They shouldn't have said this. But then at the same time, there's a part of me that's thinking it's Mr. McMahon's character. He fires people all the time.
But I think it also comes down to that bracket of like, well, can they coexist? Isn't a terrible storyline because they reference it on TV that it's a bad storyline, so now it can't be bad anymore. And I think Vince McMahon being on TV being like, I fire people because I'm a bad character, while the real life person has been firing people all year long, doesn't like make it right. You sort of see what I mean? It doesn't undo it.
I'm not saying that. I think the two things are unrelated. I don't think Mr. McMahon or Vince is saying this line and as a way to troll the viewer. I think he goes into these segments without a script, or if he's given a script, he cannot remember it, and he just says stuff, and this is a trope from his character that he can easily lean on.
I think you might be on the money with that, actually. Now, the more I think about it, because, like, his catchphrase is, you're fired. So, like, it's not like Vince hasn't been doing this for the past 20-odd years. So maybe it is just a case of, this is what his character does. This is what his character says. it just comes off across as bad taste because they fired 160 people over 2 years.
Yeah, I think if this, I don't think this was a planned line, and if it was a planned line, it was Vince. But what they did the stuff with Liv Morgan and Edge. They both brought up the firings.
But apparently those were their suggestions.
Mm.
That's the reports were it was like Edge wrote that into the script, and Liv Morgan wanted to put it in the script as well.
But those are Vince lines. I mean,
good job that the crowd really reacted to them.
That was worth it.
I'm sarcastic, by the way. They did not.
Bubba Ray's at home being like, yes, the heel heat. I dare you. I dare someone to do an actual bad guy thing in 2021, you bunch of snowflakes.
But don't do it to Velvet Sky, because I will be upset about it.
So after that, we got the cutting edge segment with Maryse.
Why is Edge doing the cutting edge in 2021? He looks so sad about it. And he's like, so great to bring the cutting edge back. I'm like, is it Edge? Do you really believe what you're saying there? You're happy? This new Edge character to bring back your talk show segments?
Yeah, it's no good. And Maryse sat down and she was playing up the idea that, because she slapped Miz last week when Miz pulled her in front of her, and Maryse is like, he's a horrible man. He does all of this. I've got to think about my children and stuff now. And Edge just says, I don't believe you. I think you're full of crap. And I know this is just a way for Miz to surprise attack me. And then the Miz surprise attacked him. What was the point?
I don't know.
This is 2 weeks of 2 weeks of TV, and it was pointless.
I know, because Edge is literally going like, well, I know the Miz is going to come out and attack me in a second, so come on out here, Miz. Then the Miz surprise attacks him and stands tall, and Edge is left laying in the ring. I'm like, well, now you look even dumber because you knew it was coming and you still lost.
I think take a page from Becky's book. You have a fake Edge come out for the cutting edge segment.
Lord.
And then Miz jumps the fake head, but you can't see him because he's got a hair over his face. And he's like doing the lines from backstage to the microphone. So Miz jumps him and then Edge jumps him. It's a surprise attack.
Yeah, this was bad. This was a terrible segment. And it is like, week to week, this feud is losing so much steam. And like, why wouldn't you do the Maryse reveal at day one? Like, do the Miz reveal at day one and give Miz the win over Edge, and then you can set up the intergender tag match, because they did bring up Beth in this segment, so that is clearly the direction we're heading. And I think Miz beats him at day one via the Maryse revealing it was dastardly plans and whatnot, and then you can do the tag match at the Rumble or do it at WrestleMania or whatever.
This is like a lot of Raw. It's first draft booking that they have not revised. Veer Mahan still coming to Raw. Do you know he wrestled on main event though?
Did he really?
Yeah, he beat T-Bar.
Oh man, I was wrong. I thought his first match would be against Shelton Benjamin or Cedric Alexander or Akira Tozawa. Those were my 3 front runners.
I read that this was just on Twitter though, so I don't know if this wasn't like a live report. But someone said he won on main event, but he incorrectly pinned T-Bar twice.
What do you mean? He incorrectly pinned?
I don't know what that means.
What does that possibly mean? He incorrectly.
They were on their front. They were outside the ring. I'm just trying to think of Alicia Fox mistakes.
Yeah. What other Alicia Fox mistakes can we? Don't bring out the Alicia Fox stands. They'll come after you. They'll hunt you. They'll hunt you down. Hall of Fame level talent. She's a former Divas champion. Yeah, that don't sound great. Poor old Dijak, by the way. Christmas Day.
Yeah. Rhea Ripley took on Queen Zelina next. She beat her in 2 minutes. And the story they're telling here is that Nikki and Carmella were banned from ringside, and Rhea could win without Nikki. So maybe Nikki really is an anchor around her neck. This is the women's tag team title feud. It's a story, but I don't think it's been performed or presented well.
No, but I at least Rhea won here. And I think the story that like Nikki's the one who, but like, did Nikki really cost her the match last week, or was it Rhea Ripley going over to her being like, "Oh, you all right, mate? You got kicked in the head, dear. Oh, mate, you got kicked in the head, dear. Do you want me to look up it?" And then getting rolled up like an idiot. Like, is that is that Nikki's fault, or is that Rhea Ripley's fault?
Yeah. And then the final segment we'll talk about, because we've already covered.
How do you incorrectly pin the only other person in a match?
Don't know. This is the last thing we'll talk about on the episode because we've already covered the main event, and that is Liv Morgan's promo, short film attempt, and then dueling promo with Becky. So Liv comes out, and she's on the mic, and I think, there's a lot of love for Liv. Mm-hmm. Love Morgan. In the arenas when she had that title match against Becky, on social media, people love Liv Morgan. And I am not there yet. I'm not like, yes, push her to the top of the division, but I've always liked Liv. I think she's got a great look. I liked her in the Riot Squad. I think she's improved so much as a wrestler. She is not good on the mic.
I don't think the scripting helps. Like, all of this is not all on Liv. Like, she is given bad verbiage to work with, and it's the way that WWE puts together shows as well. They have a recap package of Liv Morgan challenging Becky to a rematch and then getting attacked, and you then cut back to Liv Morgan, who starts off her promo saying, "Last week I challenged Becky to a rematch and then I got attacked," and I'm like, I know, I literally just saw that. Why are you telling me it twice? And then she throws to this video, and I very nearly ran with this as like the lead story in yesterday's news, because I was thinking like, this feels like an Ollie Davis special, because it's like a sort of a grainy camera thing, attack at performance something, like attack, Becky Lynch attacked at gym. You could find some way to sort of like sensationalize it maybe. And I thought, I'm better than that. I'm not going to go through with that thing. I'm so glad I didn't, because this is the first time I've seen it, and this is toilet. This was so hilariously terribly done.
So imagine your friend who tried to make an action movie, that your friend whose favorite director is Michael Bay tried to make an action movie in a garage with a couple of iPhones and their mates. That's the production level of this. It's so, to describe it in case you haven't seen it, Liv goes into what is meant to be Becky's training school. There's a ring. There's a bunch of trainee wrestlers around the ring, and there are two women in the ring wrestling. And one of them has long red hair, and it covers her face. We're meant to think it's Becky Lynch. Turns out that it's not. Liv Morgan gets in the ring. She hits her with the kendo stick. The lady goes down, but it's not Becky. The camera cuts back to Liv, and it's Liv standing there, but now Becky's behind her. They brawl, and then Liv gets the better of her. Becky goes off. The problem is, this is meant to be like a found footage thing. And the way NXT does stuff like this, or anyone who understands filmic grammar, would be, it's a static shot from a point of view of a security camera, or it's someone on their phone, and they're just like, okay, let's get this take again. I'll show you back how you're doing this wrestling move wrong. But they didn't do that. They shot it as in what you would call a multicam shoot, where it doesn't make sense because you need at least 3 different cameramen posed in areas of the building to get these shots. So as soon as you start cutting between different camera shots in what is supposed to be a reality spontaneous attack, it just, as a viewer, it does not ring true.
Not only that, the opening shot of this was a point of view shot of Liv Morgan opening the door and walking to the ring. It was like the opening to Halloween. And then, like, so you've got all of that, like the way that this show was, like, the way that this segment was put together and edited and shot and everything like that. Then you have to apply the logic that Liv Morgan flew to Iowa for a surprise attack on Becky that Becky anticipated the moment that she would go through the door. So put a body double in her place so that she could outsmart Liv Morgan, who flew to Iowa to attack her.
Mm. And at the end of this, Becky is like, "Oh, you've beaten me," and she's outside the ring with all of her trainees, and Liv, a lone woman in a strange place in a garage, is in the ring, and the door is behind Becky and her trainees. What happened next? How does she get out of that building without having the ever-living crap kicked out of her?
Yeah. This was, thankfully, like, all of that was bad. Thankfully, Becky Lynch came out to save this segment. And
but not before it cut back to Liv in the ring, and Liv said, "As you see there, Becky anticipated me, but I fought through it." I'm like, frickin' hell, I just saw how crap this is. Oh, God.
Yeah, and then finally Becky comes out to attempt to save this segment because she's such a good promo and she's such a good character. I applaud them for trying, but this is not working. And it really is. And I don't think any of it's on fault of Liv. Nothing of this is Liv Morgan's fault. None of it's Becky Lynch's fault. I think it's the way that the scripting and it's being produced and the way it's being written is just not working. And I think Liv's promos are really, really bad.
I think Liv has to take some of the blame. She is not a good talker. I don't think I've ever seen her naturally say stuff, even stuff that's not scripted. So, but you say the same thing about Brock Lesnar. You hide that. You put them with a manager. You just don't you don't give them 10-minute in-ring promo segments. You don't put them against the best talker on Raw right now and expect them to not come across as completely second tier. So I do think this is on Liv. Liv can take blame for this. It's unfortunate she's put in this position. And we don't know how much sway they had on this segment. Like, was this one of their ideas? Because honestly, the short film thing, the way it was filmed and the plot of it is the idea of an idiot.
Yeah. It's bad.
This is stuff that people pitch at school in media studies of stuff they would think that looks cool.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, this was comfortably the worst thing on the show by some leap and bound as well.
2 out of 5 for me. This episode is Raw.
I mean, you're in step with the rest of the SWAF Nation as well. We put this up on our community tab. 45% gave it 2 out of 5. 26% said it was an average show. 19% thinking it was a 1 out of 5 Rawful show. It was no good. I'm sticking with 2 out of 5 though.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who's joining so far, and also a big thank you to our $25 a month or more Pledgehammers on Patreon. Thank you to the Pim Particle, Terry Hankomer.
Oh, yeah. LL Cool J Pause.
Yeah. An expert dancer, great swayer man. Yeah.
Always leave the crowd wanting Brian Moore.
Yeah. Marcus, he's got Soul Campbell. Yeah.
Zoe Sung 101.
The Incredible Tarzo. Yeah.
The Pharaoh Stephen Mazzaferro.
Yeah. Always shining Garrett Albright. Yeah.
The easiest name to pronounce Josh Rozalskis.
Yes. Le Chef de la Tribu links the sun. Yeah.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class on the 21st of December, 2021, the heir to the throne, Kate Ayers.
Yeah. What can they get if you're a Patreon member right now, Luke?
What, right this second? Well, not only
right this second.
Not only get the back catalogue of everything that we have been doing for the last 3 or so years, you will now get NXT TakeOver London reviewed by Mr. Davis and myself. It's about 2.5 hours, nearly 3 hours. I think that podcast run is. 1 hour of that is just us talking about Star Wars The Force Awakens. And yesterday we recorded WrestleTalk After Dark, which is us getting together, having a few drinks, answering some of your random questions, mostly Christmas related this week. And we played a game of Herd Mentality and we had a great time.
Nice. Go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get involved over there. But let's close off with your Ultrachats. Charlesburg, let me clarify. I said the first half as a joke, saying I'm officially done. and then immediately saying, I'll be back in a month. Sorry, that was lost in the context.
Yeah.
That is a good joke, Charles. But what I am done with is being invested in the characters because there is no reason to be. Anyway, happy holidays. Jam that jam. Zooey Sung. As a Bobby stan, Raw making him face is lovely. Poor Liv. So, unpopular opinion. I've always liked Randy. His social media game always gave me the ugly giggles.
I mean, you're not alone in that because the crowd reactions to Randy Orton, and we've seen this for the last couple of weeks as well. I don't think you can ever turn him heel again.
Controversial opinion. Raw's roster as it currently stands, he is the only true main eventer.
Him on Raw, like on WWE in general, because I think you can probably
on
argue
Raw.
On Raw, 100%, absolutely 100% agree with you because you look at the reactions he's getting compared to what the top 4 stars going for the title are getting. He is head and shoulders above all of them.
The bad one, Jam Beard. Veer has been coming more than some porn stars. It's a semen joke. Nick Carter. Okay, hear me out.
You wouldn't have seen this actually, but there's Von Wagner on NXT cut a promo. I think it was on against Kyle O'Reilly or something, where he said, "Come Tuesday, I'm going to beat you up." And a lot of people have rebranded Tuesdays now to Come Tuesdays.
The opposite to No Nut November. Nick Carter says, okay, hear me out. Ever seen The Producers? I think WWE do their own version, making deliberately bad products to maximize their dollars, and somehow it seems to be working. Well, it's not working in viewership figures.
I was going to say, I don't think it is working. It's working money-wise. They are making, lots of money through TV deals, but I think it's fully working.
The idea with The Producers, you put on the musical Springtime with Hitler, a musical about Hitler, and it will bomb. But actually, it was so controversial, everybody came to see it, they made loads of money. So, yeah. I read, Mel Brooks wrote an article on Spaceballs over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
I reread it, and I was like, I just want to watch Spaceballs all Christmas.
Yeah, right.
What a movie.
Such a good film.
I'm a mug. Half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend. That really gets me. Mr. Kachili. Hi guys. I asked this on Quizzlemania stream, but Ollie had left. So with her return any day now, how and where? Who do you think he's asking about, Luke?
I mean, give you 5 guesses.
It's Alexa Bliss. Return as Raw needs her back. I disagree with Vince Russo that she's damaging the credibility as a top star with her character. I think a return at the Rumble is the best, with her coming back like the goddess, but only until pushed too far or someone mentions Lily or her last year so she appears fixed and normal until she has to get angry. Hope you have a great Christmas, lads. Jam that jam. Hope you have a great Christmas too, Mr. Kajili.
Absolutely. I think a Rumble return is probably for the best. I don't really care which version we get, but I think the Rumble return is, a really good Rumble return pop, I think would be great. I also don't agree that I think that Raw needs her back, but I would say that, I mean, you saying I disagree with Vince Russo is probably every single wrestling fan on the planet.
Ben Schofield. Hi guys, Merry Christmas. Luke, I am begging you to do Triple H for Actually Good. It would be such an interesting episode.
Particularly because I can't really tell you any Triple H matches that I've loved.
I agree.
The 2 Undertaker ones.
I agree with Ben, but I feel bad about crapping on the guy right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Zooey's son.
Can we dunk on Vince Russo a little bit more? Do people still listen to what Vince Russo has to say? Is that a commonly held opinion on people?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think if a Vince Russo says something controversial, but there's no one around to listen, is it controversial?
Well, I think he's just his bad takes have just been replaced by Booker T now. I think people go to Booker T now for terrible takes. No one's going to Vince Russo anymore.
Yeah. Zooey Sung. As a Riot Squad fanatic, I was sad for many years. AEW is great and really deserves all the flowers and praise. Thank you, AEW.
Also, Cactus Jack versus Triple H was also a really good match. Matthew Robinson. Hey, thank you for watching Raw. So we don't have to. You guys are awesome. Question. I was thinking of traveling to London for New Year's. how crazy is the potential lockdown you have going on? If I make it, would love to buy you guys a couple of rounds of beer. I'll be honest with you, Matthew, I ain't going to be out in London on New Year. Hell no am I going to be around London in New Year's time. You mental.
Just stay at home, Matthew. We'll find another time in the summer to do that. Is a much wiser idea.
Absolutely. Charles Berg is a member for 8 months in a row. He said, I actually subscribed. So what's the second best gift?
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I think a thumbs up. Yeah. Aaron has been a member for 5 months. Just said, Merry Christmas, lads. Have a great one. You too as well. Planet Dan ASMR. Hi, lads. I've just tested. I should read this out normally. Hi, lads. Just tested positive for the. Oh, man, now I feel bad. I just saw ASMR and I thought we could do something. No. Hi, lads. Just tested positive for the virus just a few days before Christmas. Just my luck. At least I have you, AEW, and video games to keep me company. I'll still enjoy Christmas just without all my family. I hope you enjoy your Christmases too. That absolutely sucks, Dan. I'm so sorry to hear that.
So sorry to hear that, Dan.
Yeah, that's awful news. Greg House. Wow, Greg House has donated $40 and says, hey guys, thanks for another amazing year of content from you guys, especially you two. The best two. Didn't think could Luke be any better, and this year he has. Oh, thanks. Ollie, just great, mate. Thanks for helping me keep sane this year. Thank you so much, Greg. That's so generous of you.
So Luke's got him better this year, is what I read from that. Well done, Luke. Ollie, yeah, just.
Would you think that's
toasted?
Because you were already at like a top level, like there was nowhere else for you to go.
I'll take that.
Like Randy Orton, basically. There's nowhere else for Randy Orton to go at this point. Josh Davis, also with a huge donation, $66, says, hey lads, I've had a pretty bad day at work, but managed to come home to catch you guys live. Thanks for reviewing awful wrestling shows like Raw and cheering me up. Genuinely, WrestleTalk, PFK, No Rolls Bad have helped me a lot these last 3 years. Merry Christmas. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Josh, and thank you so much for your very generous donation.
Thank you very much.
Bacon Rasher, hi lads. I've not been able to ultra chat recently. Damaged tendons in my wrist. Oof. All good now. Ready to go out with my friends for cheese and wine. Have a great Christmas. Thank you for all you do. Hashtag this government. P.S. Over 4 months of not watching WWE. Jam that jab. You just get this government bit.
This government.
This government. David Evans said, hi, gents. Thanks for all the content during these past 12 months. Hope you both have a very Merry Christmas. Luke, as you listen to the Fightful post show, what do you think of Sean's song about Denise and his take on It's a Wonderful Life? So I don't know if you saw the Friday show, Ollie, but Denise said that It's a Wonderful Life is a very boring movie, which you would expect to hear from her. She's a child, so you'd expect to hear her say that. So she mentioned this on the Fightful post show and said, I was having an argument with Luke that it's a boring movie. And Sean also said, yeah, that's a boring film.
Okay.
I don't know whether
that's
we should...
sad to hear. They're wrestling experts, they're not movie experts. No.
I just don't think we should invite him back for Quizzlemania is what I'm saying.
He's the champion. He's got us hostage, Luke.
But also, yeah, that his song about Denise. I don't think it was as good as last year's song about Denise. This one was pretty good. The legit underboss, Ollie, will 2022 be the year you join the Lovely Boys and win the Quizzlemania 6-person tag titles? Oh, we haven't thought about doing 6-person tag titles before.
6-person, bloody hell. There's only 12 Quizzlemanias a year now.
Man, all the people in chat, it is a boring movie. It is a boring film. It is a boring film.
I think you're confusing old with boring, you uncultured people. You people don't know good when it's for free on TV every Christmas. It's not just the best Christmas movie, it's the greatest movie ever made. Frank Capra, one of the greatest filmmakers of his generation, sadly not recognized enough these days. How dare you? I believe one of his films was the first ever movie to sweep the Oscars. And you're just going to sit there and say it's a boring movie? Incorrect. You're boring because you don't bring your own personal emotional investment to experiences that involve you to stay off your phone for more than 2 hours. You're uncultured, ungrateful, lovely people who continue to support this podcast and watch us.
As Jonas says here, where's the comment? If it was good, wouldn't be on free for TV.
It's been out for freaking 80 years. It's going to get on TV at some point. It's probably not even under copyright anymore.
These are wrestling fans. They have bad opinions about stories.
That's good. I'm going to fantasy book James Stewart's career better.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. It is a modern it's a masterpiece. Not even a modern masterpiece. It's just a masterpiece.
It's a pillar of popular culture and cinema.
Thanks, Ridley. Greg House said Lucas got better with all the advert stuff, etc. Both of you stayed great at the review, so that is you being very still good. I've just been more good at advertising and telling people to go and buy stuff.
I told you that privately. I said, "God damn, you've done a great job making money this year."
Thanks, mate. I've already got some lined up for January as well. And Kevin May lastly said, hello, just want to say happy Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Also, in ghost hunting shows, when you get garbled messages from beyond the grave, that's Vince in human form. Thank you for all you do. My best of the WrestleTalk world. Oh, that is good.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here. This is our last live podcast together for the rest of 2021, but we will be back, not even for Raw the first week, because just day one is throwing us off a bit. There's going to be no day one podcast, everybody, because, we want to spend time with our families. I will do a day one review on the main WrestleTalk channel, though. That'll be edited down. But yeah, AEW Dynamite will be the next time we record something live.
Yes, that will be. It'll be next year, like January 6th or 7th or something like that, because I'm also not in the first Raw of the year because I've got a day off.
The go-home show for Battle of the Belt.
It is, yeah, that would be very exciting. Also, just want to bring up this last comment at home that just said, Ollie, you should always be like this. I would pay for a 1-hour podcast each week where you talked about movies.
Sounds like something we do on the Cineworld channel.
It is. Me and Ollie do a movie show every single week over at Cineworld's YouTube channel. It's called What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. We talk about the latest and greatest movies that are out in the cinema.
I'm going to bring this up. So, I did not blame any generation. I blame Sean is of my generation. You need to, black and white television is not something that 33, 35-year-olds were brought up with.
Nope, we were not. I had a color TV when I was a child.
I had a color TV when I was a child, and we had to stand up and change the channel on the box.
I did. I had a 12-inch color TV in my room, and I could just about get all 4 channels on it. Channel 4 was a bit iffy, but I could just about get Channel 4. Definitely didn't get Channel 5 when that came in, but I could get at least the first 4 main channels.
Stick a pencil in the back.
Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please also click the video in the video description down below. Head on over to Geology, making handsome a habit, and get yourself 50% off your order. It's a 30-second quiz, and you'll look so much better. It's a good way to start off 2022, if you think about it, actually. Start off the best way. Make handsome a habit. Geology, thank you so much for sponsoring us for the last few months as well. They've been been very supportive of this show. We're very supportive of them, so thank you all so much for watching. It'll be Pete and Tempest tomorrow, Lost Intangibles, the Bananas, talking about NXT, and then it'll be Ollie and Pete doing AEW Dynamite this coming Thursday. Then Ollie and I will be counting down the best wrestlers of 2021 on Friday. It's the Christmas special on Saturday. Then myself and Adam will be counting down the best matches and pay-per-views of 2021 this coming Sunday. Oh, there's a lot of content, so much content. So you better subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. Do you want to send us home? Do you want to say Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas. Well, I'm here on Thursday.
So I suppose it should be me, really, shouldn't it? Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone, or whatever you choose to celebrate. Hope you have a great time. Jam that jam, everyone. I'll see you in 2022.